Today I fucked up by flipping my mattress. My mom has always told me that I'm the kind of person who will do things that make me suffer out of pure stubbornness. 9 months ago, my husband and I purchased our first home. Of course, we then had to move all of our stuff into the house. But it's the middle of a pandemic, and I don't want tons of other people touching and breathing over everything I own. We decide to forego professional movers and do most of it ourselves, with a skeleton crew of close family and friends for backup. This is my first fuck-up. It comes time to move our mattress. The germaphobe in me really does not want anyone else touching the thing I sleep on every night. Probably an irrational fear, but I decide that my husband and I will be the ones to move the mattress. There's my second fuck-up. He is a decently strong guy, but I am a short, underweight fool of a woman. This is a 2-story house. We wrestle the mattress up the stairs with much swearing and floundering in pain. We flop it onto the bedframe. I try not to break in half during the process, and barely succeed. We continue on with the rest of our move and try to forget our physical and mental scars. That night, we're lying in bed and it's a little more uncomfortable than usual. There are springs digging into my ass and head. I don't use a pillow, just to add an extra little layer of fuck-up, and the whole mattress is just less soft. We realize we must have flipped it bottom up from the way we had it in our apartment, and that's why it feels so different. This here is my main fuck-up. My husband says, I think we should flip it back. The other side is better. I'm cranky and tired and not about to wrangle this mattress again now that the bed is made. So I say, aren't you supposed to flip sides every few years? It'll be fine. We just have to break this one in. Fast forward 9 months. It has not gotten better. It has not broken in. Still, I stubbornly refuse to let the mattress win. I will not admit defeat. At this point it has turned into a battle of wills between me and this mattress. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I have been told my entire life that you're supposed to flip the side you sleep on. The mattress is just being stubborn too, but I will break it. Last night, I was washing the bedsheets. My husband pops into the room. Let's flip the mattress. He has been asking to do this pretty much every time we have the sheets off for the last almost year of suffering. We both have back pain at this point from our godawful mattress. I believe in my heart that yes, it might have to get worse in order to get better. But the one thing I know is that I can't let this goddamn mattress win. So I've insisted that we not flip it back every time. I start to insist again, but this time my husband pulls out his phone. He Googles it, and lo and behold, he finds that most modern mattresses are one-sided and should never be flipped. What? Why have I been told differently my entire life? Did they switch the way they make mattresses without telling anyone? How come the store we bought this mattress from didn't tell me this vital piece of information? Why did I not think to Google this months ago? We flip the mattress. We lie down on it. It's like a fucking cloud. Night and day. No more springs. A feeling of dread sinks into me as I realize I have been gaslighting my husband into sleeping on what is definitely the wrong side of our mattress for 9 months. Causing him back pain because I refuse to feel like I'm being bested by a goddamn piece of foam. What a fucking muppet I am. What an absolute French fry of a human being. We've just had the best night's sleep of our lives, and I feel awful. But the worst part is that, in the end, that goddamn mattress outlasted me. Too long did not read. I fought with my mattress and lost. My husband is kind enough to not divorce me for making him literally wake up on the wrong side of the bed for almost a year. Edit. People have been asking why my husband didn't just flip the mattress back himself. I asked him, and he said that the main reason is because he felt like I might have been right about the need to switch sides every few years. He'd heard that as a kid as well and figured that it could just need to break in. As time went on, though, he started to feel like it was taking too long and got more and more suspicious of the mattress still being springy. Also, I just want to say that I would not have been mad at my husband for flipping it, behind my back. Some of y'all seem to think that I'm terrorizing this man into a corner every time he asks to flip the mattress, when in reality it is a bland conversation that would come up every once in a while. He'd say, "Let's flip this mattress. It's still lumpy," and I'd say, "Nah, we just gotta break it in. It'll happen soon." And he'd shrug or tease me a little and that was that. My war of attrition was all in my head and only between me and the mattress. I promised my husband was free to flip at any time. Your husband is the nicest guy in the world or loves you unconditionally. Probably both. My God, he begged for 9 months? He deserves a reward. Opportunity to self-reflect. Learning how to listen to others and try new things. How not to hold on so tight and let life take you on some journeys. Lol. You don't flip them, you spin them. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. When pillow-top mattresses became a thing they stopped recommending flipping. But 9 months? After the first laundry I'm see what the deal is. I can't believe you guys put up with that for 9 months without just getting a new one seriously. Damn, you sound exhausting. Dealing with that for 9 months isn't a cute little quirk. That's being extremely rigid and digging your heels in for literally no reason. Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. The real fuck up is that your husband married a stubborn, uncompromising asshole. You need to listen more and put your ego aside. Take this as an opportunity to grow as a person. Why would you tolerate being uncomfortable for 9 months? Who could possibly benefit from that? You didn't win over a mattress. It is an inanimate object. It cannot compete against you. Your mentality is somewhat toxic. Today I fucked up by realizing, 20.5 years later, that the physician I sued had his reasons. This foo happened over 2 decades ago when my first wife died as a result of a combination of comedy, tragedy of errors, and our physician was adamant that my epileptic wife was seizing because of drugs, not epilepsy. So back in 2001 my wife of 4 years 4 months, mother of my 2 sons, had a grand mal seizure directly after she accidentally pinched her arm while tying on her Celtic armband. She was taken to the hospital. I described what happened leading up to the seizure, mentioned her history of epilepsy, and the doc insisted on putting her under. No drugs to stop her from seizing, no electroencephalograph to measure her brainwaves, and now she's paralyzed so no way to tell if, she was still seizing for what would be another 38 hours. I felt every minute, every second. Anyway, this isn't the story of the disgraced physician. This is the story behind my sudden understanding of why he may have thought she was on drugs instead, thus requiring a different level of treatment, less urgent. As we walked toward my son's football game, the Mrs., current wife of 17+ years, were talking about how a pinch of the skin can induce a seizure. We just listened to a radio show discussing epilepsy. I described and modeled to Gina how Sarah was tying on a Celtic armband preparing to go to her mom's, when we passed a guy who saw and said, "Heroin, huh? Nice." We were both in shock because he seemed to pop out of the bushes. Then we moved on. She was talking to me but I was filled with thoughts of the past. As I was describing, 20+ years ago, to one of the medical personnel what was happening when she first started seizing, I was making the same motions describing tying on a Celtic armband, and that she knew a second before going down that she was going to have it. This somehow must have been relayed to the doc, or maybe he was watching from the desk, but he must have saw that motions and assumed hardcore drugs. At the time I was curious why he was so adamant that my wife was on drugs, even after the toxicology test came back clean. Sorry doc for having such a raw, inner hatred toward you for all these years for judging my wife for no reason outside of us being poor and her being punk rock. If I was an doc I'd have to act on what info I had. I'd still have treated for the most potentially fatal, but I understand a little more now. Too long did not read. I hated an physician for decades for showing prejudice toward my wife when treating. I now understand. After making a tying one-off motion, when describing what happened to my wife as she collapsed, that you had reason to suspect drugs after all. Edit, update, clarification of foo. First off, then, you for the awards. I left for work at 9 upvotes and now I opened my iPad to check my fantasy pics and wow. The true foo was harboring all of this resentment towards him, not because it wasn't warranted so much as even docs are humans who make mistakes, and justice was served when 7 of 9 jurors determined that yes, he fell below the standard of care. In my soul I hated this man with a passion, let it consume me, truly hated him to the point of letting it affect my relationships, familial and otherwise, and me seeing things from another person's eyes allowed me to realize that the mistake he made wasn't maybe that much about prejudice toward Sarah as I previously thought. Thank you all again for this. A quick look at her arm would show if there were track marks from previous heroin injection. Toxicology would show if she had it in her system. They could have just fucking asked you. That guy fucked up and I'm sorry for your loss. Adamant that my wife was on drugs, even after the toxicology test came back clean. No, this doesn't sound right. Not after the test results. I'd still be mad. Just because you can follow his train of thought doesn't mean it isn't a shit train of thought. If Tox's screen was clean, there was no foo. What's a Celtic armband? I tried to Google it but all I got were pictures of tattoos. What I don't understand is whether the seizure is from drugs or epilepsy. The right drug should end the seizure regardless. I think they use a strong dose of Ativan or Valium. I don't know, I'd still be on the side of anger even with this information. This story doesn't make sense. A seizure caused by drugs will be treated the same as if it wasn't caused by drugs, with benzos to stop the seizure. If heroin was suspected, they would have given Narcan to reverse the overdose. ERs have had Narcan since the 70s. You don't seize for 38 hours. Seizing for an hour straight will leave you more than paralyzed, and it's considered status epilepticus if it's longer than 5 minutes. Today I fucked up by thinking a today I fucked up was unique. Whenever I come to this sub, I have a general idea of what to expect. Fuck ups, usually sexual, and then a few other funny relationship related ones. What I have been seeing constantly now is, today I fucked up because I decided to master a bait on camera with a stranger and now they're blackmailing me, and bruh, it's just getting so annoying. I get that this isn't a true today I fucked up, but can we please get some kind of cap on this kind of TIFU? It's always the same, very specific fuck up, that anyone that can rub two brain cells together would know not to do. It's like the constant sex typhus all over again, just that this one is ridiculously specific. Too long did not read. I'm tired of reading the same, today I fucked up because I masturbated in front of a stranger's camera and now they're blackmailing me, sad face, typhus. They're so damn common. Can we get a cap or something? Every time I open the app to all the today I fucked up at the top is always about having sex, fucking somebody's relative by accident, eating ass, pissing, shitting, or bleeding during sex, inflicting injury during sex, masturbating and being caught, coming into an object that you shouldn't, calling someone during sex or masturbation, inserting objects inside oneself and regretting it, anything to do with cocks, vaginas, sex toys, or cum really. It's so watered down. Either the fuck up is nothing major at all or they sprinkle a fuck ton of adjectives all over their sentences to make it sound like the smart Redditor comment they saw and want to mimic the writing style. Yes. Thank you. Don't forget, today I fucked up by having sex, insert something about periods or other bodily fluids. TIFU having sex. I had sex. I had sex. I had sex. Today I fucked up can be described as sex, sticking your dick in shit, shoving things in your ass, shitting and pissing, putting icy hot on your junk and cooch and ass, and now, jizzing on everything. I just want to see stories like the guy who threw his steak at a window, man. I'm sick of this sex stuff. I wish we got less sex-related typhus in general. I don't need to know about your stuck butt plug or the headphone jack you shoved down your urethra. It just stops being interesting. Today I fucked up by stepping on my hamster. So this just happened about an hour ago. I have spent just a bit longer than a year with this hamster and everything was going well. I was playing a very competitive table tennis match on the VR glasses, jumping around when I heard a few unusual sounds around. I didn't care much for it and continued my competitive game. Later on, I found out that the little fella had escaped its cage for the first time and decided to give me a visit in my room. He was always so kind and emotional, but I honestly did not expect him to risk his life trying to visit me. Anyways, things didn't turn out well for him. I felt something squishing, a feeling hard to explain, both hard and soft at the same time, right under my foot. It was the worst feeling I've ever experienced and I believe it is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Rip little man. You will be missed. TLDR. I accidentally stopped on my hamster after it got under my foot while I was playing a VR game. I'm so sorry, loudly crying, someone said one time. I've never heard a story of a hamster dying in a normal way. Let's add this to list. I still hate that for you, and you must feel awful, but it's not your fault. Yep, that shit's gonna haunt you. I'm sorry. I had a hamster named Domino once. I put him in his plastic ball. Got too stoned and forgot to put him back in his cage. My dog Smokey, the most loving German Shepherd, Malamute mix, cracked open his little door to his ball and licked him to death. His heart probably couldn't take it. Woke up to find Smokey laying by him, he even nudged him with his nose when I saw him. Rip to your little dude, rip to Domino, rip to Smokedog. When I was in grade school, maybe 5th grade, our class had a pet hamster. One day we were all in a circle on the floor letting the hamster run around and my best friend got up to maybe to go use the bathroom. She accidentally stepped on the hamster and it died. This was about 40 years ago and I still remember it. She was devastated. So yeah, I can imagine how you feel. So sorry. I'm just here to count how many people misspell hamster. Rip to your little buddy, op. F. My daughter's gerbil got loose one day and as she went to grab it, she ended up kneeling on it and killing it. She was 9 years old and OMG was that a hard situation to parent through. VR takes yet another life. One of my hamsters electrocuted itself. I have never heard any hamster death story that wasn't some freak accident or abnormal in some way. Loudly crying, I'm so sorry for your loss.